Welcome to Soulful Conversations with Nadjejda. I am really happy and excited about my guest today because I could not wait to do this interview and to talk to her because we're both very much big on spirituality, especially spirituality in politics. Kat Kim, Kat is a transformational breakthrough coach, spiritual teacher, and creator and founder of the Ascension Masterclass. Kat has served as a contributing coach and mentor on Dwayne The Rock Johnson's motivational TV show called Wake Up Call, featuring Jillian Michaels of Biggest Loser and Dana White of the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. She is co-author to Socially Smart and Savvy and currently a minister in training with a sailor's mouth. Okay, I love that when I heard that. I love that. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So good to be here.
Yep, definitely. So tell me about your journey. But how did you get into this spiritual path?
Yeah, sure. So before I start, do you know what I love to do before I begin anything is to um, bless our time together and invoke like the spirit to come into us and through us and work through and talk through us. So do you mind if we do that?
I'm all for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyone who is listening or watching too, everyone just close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and release. And another deep breath in and release. And as we continue to breathe in, we breathe in the divine spirit, the divine love, the divine intelligence. And as we breathe out, we let go of any thoughts, any stories that have been crowding our minds today or yesterday or in the past. And as we breathe in spirit, we call upon the divine to be with us in this very moment, to speak through Kat, to speak through Nadjejda. I know that everything that will be said today is going to be divinely perfect, and it will be exactly what needs to be said for exactly the people that are listening and watching in this beautiful, soulful conversation that is happening right now. I know that all is good. I know that all is going to be divinely perfect, and I release these words, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So
I was like, wow, I wasn't ready for this. I'm getting like a relaxing, healing session.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. And that's one of the biggest things I like to do now is to bring in spirit into everything I do. Because what is the divine? The divine is the infinite intelligence, the all-powerful, everywhere present source, this magic that exists that we have access to. And so why not, invoke that into our lives, even for the tiniest things, right? So I make sure that I do that now as a practice.
I really, really love it. Just to say quickly about that.
Yeah.
Although I didn't do all of that, but I used to teach Zumba, and I would end my class with, that song "I Am Light" by India Irie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would end my class with that, and I remember they used to say I would pump them up and I would send them away in a meditative state.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because I just think, for me, it's like you have that yin and yang. Like you need to, I'm all free spirit, go happy and everything. And I remember I taught a class last summer. I don't teach anymore, but I did it for an organization with a fundraiser. And I asked them, would they allow me that when I ended towards the end, that I just play that song and have everyone really get in a place of peace, And I think it's so powerful. So
yeah, I love it.
Great way to begin. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. So how did I get here? Well, I'll tell you that I was never like this before. I didn't have this practice before. My story goes way back. Probably started when I was 6 years old. My mother began feeding me diet pills. I shared this a little bit with you before. And I'm 6 years old, and I don't remember, when I think back, I don't remember if this is because I had asked her to help me lose weight, or if this is something that she wanted me to do as a 6-year-old little girl. All I remember is that she had these big, huge, like, they weren't even pills. They were something that she got from China. And she would take them, they're like these big round balls, and she would cut them in half. And I used to barely just be even tall enough to get over like the kitchen sink. And I used to look at her, and I asked her what she's doing, because she was cutting it on the cutting board. And she said, well, these are for adults, and these are to help you lose weight. But since you're only a child, I'm only going to give you half of them. So I just accepted that. I didn't question it or anything. But obviously that was kind of like the beginning of a lifelong struggle of low self-confidence and body image issues, and just absolutely total lack of self-worth. And I also grew up in a very emotionally abusive environment and physically abusive environment. And I started rebelling at a very young age. And by the time I was 13, I was drinking and smoking. By the time I was 16, I was doing hardcore drugs. And then by the time I was 18, I was dealing cocaine. And I was transporting it from Washington State to California on the plane. So this is like before 9/11. But either way, I was just headed down this path where I had absolutely no regard for my life or for what happened to me. Eventually one day I did get caught, and I was arrested. I was handcuffed, and I was taken to jail in Oakland, California, which is like one of the biggest, the most dangerous, notoriously dangerous cities in the United States, notorious for homicides and, just really bad crimes. And here I was in jail, just, absolutely didn't even care what was happening to me. And you would think that was my wake-up call, but it wasn't. Even while I was in jail, I was trying to make drug deals. It's like I was just digging and digging and digging for more stuff that I can get into. I was just trying to see how far I could go before I could like almost kill myself or something, And so eventually I got out, I cleaned up, but my troubles never went away. Even though I cleaned up the drugs, I started getting into very emotionally abusive relationships with men that totally just sucked the life out of me. And this entire time, ever since I was young, I was very overweight. I was ugly. I felt like I was the ugliest girl in town. And I just walked around like I was the nastiest, meanest bitch, and I attracted everything into my life that pretty much validated that. And so it wasn't until one day I was walking down my apartment hallway, and in front of the elevator door, there's this big mirror. And as I was approaching the elevator, I saw this woman there in the mirror, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I looked at her, and she was like in really frumpy clothes, and she was overweight. She had the really bad, like puffy, swollen face, and she had like all this cystic acne on her face or something. And I was like, I kind of cringed, because she looked so bad. And even in that moment when I saw her, I was in a very emotionally abusive relationship. I was depressed, and I was just wallowing in my own self-pity and toxicity. But even in that moment, I saw her and I thought, oh my God, at least I'm not that bad, because that's how bad she looked. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks that I was looking at myself in the mirror. There was nobody else there. Yeah. I had become so disconnected with who I was being on the inside and who I wanted to be on the outside that I didn't even recognize myself when I saw myself in the mirror. So I decided, that was my breaking moment. I decided in that moment that I would do whatever it takes to become the woman that I wanted to be. And I wanted to be beautiful. I wanted to be powerful. I wanted to be have an impact and be influential. And I wanted to walk into a room and have people notice me for once, because before that, nobody noticed me. Nobody cared. I was a ghost. And so I just wanted to be somebody, right? So that day, I was the beginning of transformation for me. And I pretty much began studying everything I could lay my hands on around transformation. And it originally started with this quest for transformation on the outside. So I became a certified image consultant, where I began studying everything from body shapes and natural coloring and style, and how to dress the woman according to her lifestyle and how she looks. And then I became a nationally certified personal trainer, because I wanted to understand how the physical body what the physical body goes through when it undergoes transformation. And then I went under like a 3-year training program to become a transformative life coach, where I began studying the psychology of the mindset. So it was like this quest, like how do I create transformation the quickest and the easiest and the fastest? And this question kept on taking me to different areas. But ultimately, ironically, this quest for transformation on the outside took me inside, where I began studying quantum physics and spirituality and energy and metaphysics. And I just became like blown away with all this information that I was finding, not just in all the new age books that are coming out now, but I'm talking about ancient texts, and including the Bible, or the Bhagavad Gita, or Buddhist teachings. And one thing led to another, and now I'm on this ministerial path. Was not expecting that, but the stuff that I'm finding out and the truth that I'm coming across is so powerful and so beautiful that I would feel so selfish to keep it inside and not share it with the world. And I feel like I'm really being called to do that, because we are so powerful, so powerful. And I just see so many people out there struggling to make things happen in their life, but they're just struggling so much, like I did. And I know for sure that the truth, with the capital T, is that there is a divine intelligence that's working through us in every single moment. And we have the power to harness it and to own it and to accept it and to allow it into our lives and to co-partner with it, so that we never have to do anything on our own. Nothing. We should not be doing anything on our own. And so that's what got me onto my spiritual path. And just that, the truth is that we truly, truly are one. We are one. And when I look at you, if I can look at you and see the God in you, or the spirit, or the divine intelligence in you, that's the divine intelligence in me looking at the divine intelligence in you. And imagine if we could all do that on a more bigger scale, on a global scale.
Yeah.
So,
wow. So
yeah.
so when are you familiar with A Course in Miracles?
Of course. Yes. So the ministerial path that I'm taking is under what's called New Thought. It's New Thought, and Course in Miracles falls under the New Thought teachings. And New Thought is I would say my definition of it is just a combination of all of the ancient teachings and finding the golden thread that ties it all together. And it's not religious in the sense that, it claims one religion. It's all inclusive.
Great. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I love that. Yeah. So I'm so excited about it. And I had a lot of baggage around the word God. So I'm talking about, I come from that background where I was like, don't even mention that word to me. Don't even say it. Don't bring a Bible around to me. And I still have stuff around the Bible, like honestly. And sometimes when
you're not alone. I do too.
Yeah. So I am that person, like so many people who've been kind of scarred by religion and, have been told that, you're not a good person because you're not following this and this because of what God's doing or what Jesus is doing. But I think that's all bullshit. And I think, I think spirit or God, whatever name you have for it, is just at our beck and call. And it's right there at our fingertips, and anyone has access to it. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion religion you are. I don't care if you cuss, if you do drugs, it doesn't even matter. That divine energy, that divine spirit is always at everyone's beck and call and access. So
yeah, I
yeah.
truly believe that as well. I am a firm believer of this. And, you know, I was born and raised Catholic,
Yeah.
but I just don't, you know, for me, I really believe like my religion is love. I don't, and I'm not one of those who's like, you know, Bible verses, like, cause actually I say that, you know, some people say, oh, you know, if you're having something, go open the Bible. I open the Bible and I don't get it. So
Yeah.
I don't even open it anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, I respect other people's things, but I'm a firm believer that there isn't this one truth, that this one religion is the way to go about it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. And so I wanted to say that I wanted Kim to, because this is how I chose Kat to come. You know, we're Facebook friends because we were in a program together. And I would start seeing her post because I'm very much, you know, I am passionate about social justice. I care about, you know, politics, and you know, I'm a big, Marianne Williamson is like my number one, like she was my first spiritual teacher. So I'm very much into spirituality and politics. And, you know, it was around the time with Black Lives Matter started, and, this whole movement was like really, you know, everybody was talking about it. And I would see some of her posts and I'm like, wow, she's like, I want to talk to her. And then I wanted to do this show. So I reached out to her, and then I saw that she attended Sister Giant, which was earlier in February of this year in DC, which is where Marianne Williamson got people to talk about, because really, I believe we're living in an incredible time, you know, where it's really time for transformation, and it's time for us to really look within. And I think sometimes what we do is we tend to want to look out and judge instead of really looking within and see, okay, what is it about me that needs to transform? What is it about me that I need to heal?
Yeah.
So I reached out to her because I was like, wow, I want to bring her in, because I wanted to talk about these important topics that matter to me, and I think matter really to our humanity.
Yeah. Absolutely. We are in such incredible times right now. And by the way, so when you and I met for the first time in that program, it was August last year. So right before the presidential election, right? It was like during all of that. And then when I went to the Sister Giant, it was 1st of February. So it was right after the inauguration in DC. So just the energy in the last, come on, gosh, just in the last 6 months has been so intense. It's been like ups and downs, you know, and it's just wild. And we've really got to pay attention to these things now. And I realized, just experiencing all of that our spiritual awakening as a consciousness, as a collective conscious, has begun, 2 decades ago.
Oh, yeah.
And people are still waking up to it. But we are not just going through a spiritual awakening, but we are going through a political awakening, where those two things cannot be separated anymore. And we've got to bring in, not religion, we've got to bring spirituality, the religion of love, as you said. We've got to bring that into politics, and we've got to bring that into our civics. We've got to bring that into our daily lives now. And it's a serious thing. And the reason that things are falling apart right now is because for several decades now, that has not been existing. The love has not been there. It's been the opposite of oneness. I talked about oneness a few minutes ago. It's been about being separate. Like more for me, less for you, or if you get some, then where's mine? That's the question. We're like in this frantic phase of what's in it for me, and we live in one of the most abundant fucking countries in the world. We have all the resources available to us in this country alone. Yet we're asking questions like, where's mine? And how come, I'm not getting what they have? And how come they're getting more? And what do I need to do to get that, you know? So that's what's controlling our politics right now.
Yeah.
And we want to point fingers, of course. We want to point fingers at the president and the presidential, the cabinet and the leaders and everything. But guess what? Everything we see out in the world right now, especially those things that trigger us, everything, especially American politics and what's going on, that is a direct reflection of what's in our collective conscious right now. Direct reflection. And the way that I've learned to look at what's going on right now and really helps me to understand these big concepts, because it can be so confusing and very overwhelming, right? Is that I've learned to look at America as its own entity. America is its own like person. It has its own soul, and America is a she. You know, we call America a woman. It's okay, but America is young, first of all, very, very young. And she grew up very quickly, and she grew up very with a lot of power and a lot of beauty and a lot of freedom, right? And it's almost like she grew up with so much of that a little bit of her wild side, you know, just kind of got loose, and she's been doing bad, you know, like not very good things while she's growing up as this beautiful entity. She's also been doing some shady shit. Okay. Slavery and just, you know, just taking over the earth and raping and pillaging everything that was here before, you know, we arrived. So all of these things that have been happening are coming to the surface now, and they're wanting to be healed. And so that's what's happening. We need deep, deep healing on a very collective level. But how do we heal such a big thing? How do we heal America? Well, we have to go back to ourselves. We have to learn how to heal ourselves and ask ourselves those questions. Where do I need healing? Where am I hurting? And then secondly, this is the part that I feel like we're being called in to do now, because we're good at looking at ourselves, especially the spiritual community. We're really good at looking at ourselves and saying, what's wrong with me and where can I improve? We're really good at that, almost to a narcissistic point where all we do is focus on what's ours, right? Yeah, what's mine to fix, and how can I make more money and get a better career? It's all about me, me, me. So we're good at looking at ourselves, but we need to continue doing that. But what needs to happen along with that, because America is growing and we are developing, what we need to do is start to ask the question, how can I contribute?
Yes.
What is mine to contribute? How can I serve? And it needs to be from a completely selfless place. And that's our challenge, and that's where we need to go to continue on this evolutionary path, because we don't do that, and that's not in politics.
No, it is very true. It is very true. I remember like many years ago when, you know, I don't remember, it was before this whole election season. I talked about, you know, when I would hear Marianne talk about spirituality and politics, I think it was around the time before she ran for Congress in LA. And well, I'm not sure if it was LA, but it was in California. I think it was LA. It was around that area. And I remember when I said it, one of my friends was like, wow, you're so naive. Like, this is just never, like, because people, you know, they think that you can't put love in politics. You know, because there's this whole of like this party, that party, my party, them, me, and like it's very I'm trying to find the word, like very divisive.
Yeah.
And really, like you said, it's like we have an awesome opportunity right now to really look within. And I love how, I don't know if you recall a few weeks ago, it could be even a few months now, where I made a post where I said, be mindful that you don't become what you are judging.
Yes.
And you said, and you made a comment and you said, and that's a great opportunity to look within and heal whatever it is that's there for you.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. On that point, it's those things that trigger us and we get so angry and we want to point fingers. Oh, there's so much there. It's gold, and it's uncomfortable, but if one is on the spiritual path and one wants to continue on the spiritual path, those moments are the best moments to uncover what's inside of you, that's in your shadow, and that's wanting to be expressed and be healed. So whatever you're getting, whatever's pissing you off, it's not that person or that thing. There's something inside of you.
Yeah. No, definitely. And that's the thing, I mean, some people don't agree with it, but I was saying, for me, exactly what you're saying, I do see America, what's happening right now, is sort of like what happens many times in our lives.
Yeah.
We go through this, there's something that we've been, the signals have been coming, we've been but we have not been paying attention to it.
Yeah.
One day it kind of starts blowing up in our face, and we have to face it. Yeah. And we're gonna grow and learn from it. But some people don't agree. They don't, to them it's like the worst. I mean, I'm not saying it's a great thing, but it's just that it's part of the journey.
Yeah.
It's part of it. And all we can do is, as individuals, and also those of us who can choose to like really look within ourselves and then be of service, like you said. Because I do think, many times, I don't know what are your thoughts? Well, I know what your thoughts would be probably. I mean, not exactly, but I know for myself, there are people who think, you don't discuss politics and business. If you have a business, you don't discuss politics. Or there are people who are very much into the spiritual umbrella. Oh, you want to talk about what makes you feel good. So why do I need to talk about the state of the world? So it's sort of like, oh, let me just not talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. I think you know my opinion on this.
I have to protect my energy. I have to. And for me, I do believe in self-care. I do believe that we want to make sure that we don't stay in that state of like anger, or, because even for me, I have to say, I limit. I'm not always on the news. Like I don't watch the news every single day, but I am aware of what's happening. I take action when I need to, but it's sort of like, but I think that people think that they want to be in a bubble.
Right. Yeah. So I understand that point of view, because I used to be there. I used to be that person, the business owner, didn't want to get political, didn't want to cause, I didn't want to ruffle feathers. And I'm all about like, oh, I have to be calm and peaceful and protect my space and self-care. Well, this is the fucking like growth spurt that we're going through right now. We need to grow the fuck up and stop being so damn selfish about our needs, because that's the privilege that we have in America right now. We are so privileged here that we don't have to look at what's going on outside of our developed country. We are so privileged that we can just simply push the exit button on our, I was going to say turn off the TV, but we don't even watch TV anymore. But we just have to exit, the website. Yeah, whatever. We can just turn it off and we don't have to look at it. But that's not, and that's what I meant by our evolution right now is so important, that we have to look beyond ourselves. That is where we need to grow as a collective society and as a country. America needs to stop looking at just themselves, and it needs to start looking at the collective the globe as a collective. We are one. There's no more borders in the sense that if we cause pollution in America, that it's not going to affect Mexico or Canada. That it doesn't work like that anymore. Everything is so global that what happens here affects a little child in a underdeveloped country. I just found out the statistic, you probably saw me post about it. 29,000 children under the age of 5 years old die every single day for reasons that don't have to be for being hungry. These are preventable things. Okay, 29,000. That's just such a big number. It doesn't even really hit. That's like one child every 20 minutes or something. No, that's one child every minute, every 60 seconds. And that child is in someone's arms right now, a mother's arms. And those things happen because of the resources that we're just consuming and consuming and consuming, all for capital gain. We have so much richness and resources in this world right now that we don't need hunger. That's like the world's dumbest problem. One of my friends calls it the world's dumbest problem. So in terms of like wanting to, have self-care and not get uncomfortable, it's time to get fucking uncomfortable. And this is something I get from Marianne Williamson, and she's so brilliant. She's like, no, girl, it's time for you to. Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, if there's any impact, I'm not trying to. But it's just that, you know what it is really, actually, to me, empath means that you have to be empathy. You have to be empathetic, which means that you need to put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is where I believe business individuals like you and myself, this is our area of growth where we've got to start talking about these things, being more public about it. And guess what? It is uncomfortable. I didn't know half of the stuff that I do now, but ever since the election and everything that's happened, the world has changed. And because I am an empath, I can pick up on that energy, and I know that there's something happening right now that we need to tap into it now and start really making a contribution. Like I said, we need to start contributing to the oneness of our humanity.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing I want to say, when you said earlier about people, your friends saying that, bringing love into spirituality is naive. I used to be afraid of those things, like, because I'm a spiritual person, I say these things, I, talk about love and all that. And I used to have that same fear, like, how stupid am I? What if someone says something? And I've been doing a lot of research and reading up on this. And now that I'm, following this ministerial path, everything I look at, everything I read, even when it comes to history, I look at it from the lens of spirituality, like the bigger scope of things, of how we have evolved. And this country, first of all, was founded on spiritual principles of freedom and equality. So we have to remember that even before this country started, the founding fathers and the people that fought the Revolutionary War, they were being persecuted because of religion in England, right? And they believed within themselves, this is not right. We should be free to worship or to have any type of religion that we want. And so the spiritual quality of freedom, that was the divine intelligence working through them and saying, this is something that I want to fight for. And so we fought for it. We built a constitution around it. And yes, we fucked up a lot around building slavery into it at the same time. But that's kind of how America is. We do something really, really amazing, and then there's also some shadow. There's shadow. Yeah. There's no perfect country.
It's like even in our own lives.
Yes.
What's happening is that I think we're afraid of looking at our own shadows, and that's why we're like,
yes.
When we see someone else's shadow, we're like, oh my God, and we're like, they're horrible. Because really, in some way, they're reflecting our own stuff into us. I know many people will be like, what is she talking about? But that's just, it's sort of like how it goes, and that's why it is so important that we, just like as an individual, we need to allow, I often say, I remember I did a live stream the day after the election.
Oh.
I have no idea what this is going to, how this is going to turn out. But all I can see is that just like in our personal life, we need to allow the darkness to show up in order for the light to be to be on it, to shine on it and to heal it. I think we're going to the same thing as a country.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and it's messy. It's not, it's very messy because a lot of us are very much resisting it,
Yeah.
and it's very much about, we want to talk with the people who agree with us, you know. So, but I think, I mean, it's gonna be a pretty long ride and a bump.
It is. It's going to be a long ride. And so, this is where self-care really is important. I've taken, I'll go like head into all this stuff, but then I'll have to take some time off and to just take, enjoy life for what it is. And these are the times that we're in, Nadjejda. We're in a time of massive change and transformation. And there was, from the history that I've read, the other time that it was like this was in the 60s, when there was the sexual revolution, and there was, the peace revolution, when we were at war with, when we were in Vietnam. And, there was just so many people who wanted the peace and the love, and a lot of change happened during that time. And so we're in another time like that, where the masses have become very awakened to what's happening and what the government is doing. And so it's important that we continue to do this, and that we be vigilant, and that we, most of all, that we become really self-aware of, that we become very self-aware, that we don't fall into the trap of consumerism. Actually, that's the big thing that government controls us with, because we all have these human needs, for love and belonging. And, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Have you heard of that? There's safety and security needs. There's love and belonging. Those are all human needs that we have. But what's happening is that big corporations are feeding on those needs, and they're brainwashing us. We're being brainwashed to believe that we need to purchase things or to buy things in order to fulfill those needs. Like, take Victoria's Secret, like, commercials, for example. They are feeding on our need to be loved and accepted, or to belong, or to be beautiful, right? And what is the message there? The message is, you've got to buy this bra. Right?
You need that bra to be sexy.
Yes, and you've got to look like this in order to fulfill this need. But that's not the answer. The answer is to connect with the divine. This is my path of spirituality, is having a strong spiritual practice, and making it something that you do every day, not just when you're in a shithole and you need to get out and you start meditating and doing affirmations. No, I think it's so important to have a very intimate relationship with your higher power, no matter what you call it. And to, like I said in the beginning, this is a first full circle moment. It's like what I said in the beginning, is to have that relationship so that you can co-partner with it, and know that when you are in co-partnership with something that is only love, and is only divine, and is only grace and beauty and creativity, that just fills me, just even thinking about that right now. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I don't need that fucking bra.
I hear you. No, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I mean, what's the bra? I mean, what's the bra gonna do? What difference is it going to make?
Exactly.
It's that we're very much, the other day I was thinking about it. I mean, I have no issues. I mean, I eat clean, I work out and everything, but I was just thinking about it, how many of us are very much obsessed with the way we look.
Yeah.
But yet how many of us are like really concerned about, okay, yeah, you're taking care of your body. Are you taking care of your mind? Are you taking care of your soul?
Yes.
You know? And that is the thing. We put a lot of emphasis on our image, but not much on our mental state.
Yes, exactly. And that's what exactly I do with my work, because I started off as an image consultant. So let me tell you something. I love beauty, and I love style.
Yeah.
And so this is something that I used to struggle with. Like, how can I love this artistic expression of fashion design and clothing, but what about what's happening in the world with all this consumerism, and how does this relate to spirituality? You know, like I really struggled with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I found this balance that, number one, like what you said, you've got to work on, you know, finding your confidence in who you are as a woman. What are your values? What's important to you in life?
Yeah, what do you
Yes.
stand for?
Yep. Starting there. And then on the surface side, it's about learning to appreciate the beautiful parts of you, learning how to look at yourself like how the divine would look at you. How does God look at you? How does spirit look at you? You're perfect. You're so beautiful. And if you can start to look at yourself in that way, or at least begin to open yourself up to the possibility that, yeah, I am beautiful, then you can start to appreciate colors and find out, you know, the perfect style that fits you and only you. And you can learn to dress yourself in a way that's actually very creative, and that honors yourself as a woman, as a divine being who is here not just to taste good food and smell good flowers, but to fucking look good, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But when that's out of balance and it's all you focus on, then that it becomes a neuroses. But when it's aligned with a strong inner core confidence, and you know who you are as a woman, and you just walk down that street and you're confident and you're wearing the right perfect dress or whatever, then damn, you're hot, you know?
Yeah, definitely. No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you stand for in life? Since we were talking about, you know, what we stand for, our values.
Yeah. Gosh, probably everything right now. You know, that's a really good question. I'm just reflecting because that's actually shifted for me in the last 6 months. Everything that I've talked about just in the last, you know, few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really shifted. And right now, what I stand for, and this kind of ties in with my new teaching and what I'm teaching now around building your spiritual confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I call it spiritual, like unleashing your spiritual confidence. And for me, that includes three parts and three pillars. There are three pillars to spiritual confidence. And one of them is, it is the self-care part. Like, it is, you are a human living here on earth. Like, what are your needs? You have, you know, needs for love and belonging. Do you have needs for safety and security? Where in your life are you are you neglecting? Is it money? Is it your health? You know? So taking care of those needs is really, really important. And I think a lot of times spiritual people want to bypass that, or they feel guilty focusing on those things. Like, I shouldn't want money. I shouldn't want to be sexy. I shouldn't want this nice house for myself. No, you are a human. You're here to experience all these wonderful things that are here. Yes, you can have a chocolate cake and just love it every single minute, and a glass of wine. And those are human needs. And I think one of the pillars to spiritual self-confidence is taking care of those needs, owning it and saying, this is important to me. I don't care what anyone else says. I'm going to take care of this.
Yeah.
The other part, though, is if that part is the ego, then we have another part to spiritual confidence, which is the divine. And this is another part, something else I stand for, like I was saying earlier, having a wonderful, beautiful, intimate relationship with the power that is bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
And making it, courting it, you know, like flirting with it, or like dating it even. It's not like opening up your Bible and reading verses. No, it's like going out into nature and just being awestruck by all the green and all the flowers, and just like being awestruck by listening to a baby laugh or something, you know, and just thinking about, wow, how am I here? How is it that this world was created? Just, you know, really connecting with those deeper questions, and being connected with a source that is much bigger than us. That is something I stand for, because when we do that, then like I said earlier, we can co-partner with this power, and we don't have to do anything by ourselves. And then the third piece to spiritual confidence, and the third thing that I'm standing for is contribution. Like I said earlier, like, what are you going to do outside of yourself that has nothing to do with you, but has everything to do with what your natural talents are? And what do you do so naturally that when you do it, time disappears, you know? And how are you going to take that, and how are you going to contribute this to the world around you? Because we are one. You know, we are one, and we need you. We need your gifts. We need you to show up, and we need you to share every part of you. So those three things, what I am proposing now in this new age is that those self-care, your connection to God or spirit, and your contribution, none of those are optional. None of them are optional. And it's the intersection of all three of those things that you just unleash yourself as this powerful, magnificent, like spiritual being. And it's all three of those things: yourself as an ego, yourself as a divine, and yourself as someone who is serving.
I love it. I really, really love it, because I really think the same thing as you, is that these are the three things that you really need.
Yeah.
You know, so I love it. Totally. Totally. What are your thoughts on life purpose? Do you have one? And if you do you mind sharing it with us?
For me, it's the like what I was just talking about, contribution. For me, that's where we find our life purpose. You know, what am I going to do that is bigger than myself, that is not just for myself? How do I contribute to the world around me? And so this is what I help my clients through. I help them find that life purpose and find how they want to contribute. Because everyone that's listening here on your calls, and everyone that I talk to, we are all spiritual seekers. We're there. You guys, hello everyone. You guys are here because you're seeking something that's bigger than you and that's beyond you. And your life purpose is there. It's bigger than you. And in fact, your life purpose is not your life purpose. It is the divine. It is spirit.
To the world.
Yeah, it is spirit that's working through you and wanting to express through you in a certain very unique way that is very unique to you. And when you can let go of the idea that it's not you, that it's the divine working through you, and you open up to that, then you will be on your life purpose. So, and it should be enjoyable. It should be fun. It should be challenging. It should make you cry. It should make you laugh, all of that.
As you're saying that, I'm like, I know I found mine, because I've done all of that.
I know.
And I'm sure there's more coming.
I know.
Definitely. No, it's so true, because I'm sure you're familiar with Dr. Wayne Dyer's work.
Sure.
And he has a quote that is very much what that basically says that your life purpose is not about your life. It's not about you. It is something that is, that is being of service to others.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's my belief too. My life purpose is not about me. And I love how you say it, because that's what I've really gotten through my journey of like becoming more of myself and being an entrepreneur, and really it's something that is about making a difference, being a contribution, and me loving it.
Yes.
Like loving it. That's just, yeah.
Loving. Yeah. And it's going to be challenging, but it's going to be, your thing that only you do, that was almost like made for you. It's going to be very unique.
Definitely.
And guess what? Not everyone's fucking life purpose is to be a millionaire. All right.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, this is going to be the first time I'm going to be sharing this in this platform. A few weeks ago, actually, I haven't aired that interview, but I didn't even say it in the air. I told my fellow entrepreneur, who was one of my fellow entrepreneurs, who was my guest at the time. So a few weeks ago, I was interviewing her, just like I was talking to you. And as she was talking, I literally had a moment that I haven't experienced in, like, I'm trying to think if I've ever experienced it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this and I'm actually working. And it was an overwhelming feeling of joy and of love. I almost cried. Like
Yeah.
I could see myself that I was going to tear up.
Yeah.
And I shared that with her at the end.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, I think this is part of my life purpose. This,
Yes.
this podcast, this video podcast, and pretty soon we're going to be on iTunes. But it's like, that's part of my life purpose because I'm contributing
Yes.
to others and I'm also loving it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, there's parts of it which are not part of like talking to you guys that I don't enjoy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I pulled my hair.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So definitely. So tell me, what do you believe the world needs more of? And if it had it, it would make a huge difference.
Um, the desire to understand
Yeah.
one another.
Wow, that's powerful.
It's that easy.
It's not.
Especially, I know it's
But
that easy, but it's not.
in order to understand, we have to listen and see each
Yeah.
other, but we're not doing that.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's just, it sounds like a contradiction. But I think especially when we don't understand and we're triggered and we want to hate somebody, that if the world had just more of a desire to try to understand the other person, even the president or whoever, even if it's just to understand with a little bit more of why that person is saying what they're saying, doing what they're doing, I think we would heal a lot. I think we would, our gun violence would go down. I think so many things would be solved just by wanting to understand, because at the root of that is compassion, having compassion for someone else.
Definitely. I often say that once we have understanding, we have compassion, and then we have love, because once you have those, love is present.
Yeah, exactly.
That is why we need to bring love into spirituality, into love into politics.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way we will understand.
Imagine if we had Republicans and Democrats who were talking to each other in a way that they were actually trying to understand each other. Imagine if that was the dialogue that was happening. And imagine if that was the dialogue that we saw on TV and in our Facebook, posts and all of that. A world of people who are trying to understand each other, even though they don't agree. But
yeah, that's what great.
Yeah, that would change everything.
Yeah, no, I love what you said, because I love that when you added that, because I was thinking about it, because I think sometimes some of us, many of us, and I know even for me, there are times I find myself doing it. And I used to do it even more before, before I really started deepening my spiritual practice. I think we come from a place of like, in order for me to understand you, I have to agree with you. In order for me to go and sit down with you and to listen and to talk to you, I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
So we can choose to listen to, each other. We can actually even understand one another and still have different point of view.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
and that is a spiritual practice.
Yes, it is.
I say that that's what the world needs, and it might come off like I have this thing down, like I do it all the time, but no, there are so many things I don't understand, like my boyfriend, he pisses me off sometimes, but the spiritual practice is to come back and ask, myself, okay, what's going on here? What do I need to understand? If we are one, then what's wanting to come forth in this moment? So it's a practice, and it's a practice of asking those questions over and over and over and over.
Yeah. So I wanted to say this quickly. I know we went, but it's fine. It's totally okay.
Yeah.
I think we have some, great content.
Yeah.
I wanted to share this, and I wanted to get your point of view on this, because as we're talking about understanding in our spiritual practice, and I was at a seminar recently, and actually they're not, I don't know if you've heard of Landmark Education, so they're not really into spirituality big, but I had to deal with some stuff. And actually, this is the first time I'm sharing this in a way public like that, where I got to see there were people in my life, you know, where there was a breakdown in our relationship. And for me, I went in, I wanted to experience more balance and more peace and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had to bust through my resistance and have those conversations so I could renew these relationships, you know, I realized, because I was like really resisting it. One of the things I realized was how I was afraid of letting them back in and being hurt again.
Mm.
Because I have this view of like, I'm unlovable and the world is unsafe. So
Mm-hmm.
they were unsafe for me. I saw them as a threat.
Yeah.
And I did pull through and I had the conversations and we're renewing our relationship. And then I got to see how there was somebody I was in a relationship with. And I could never get the way he reacted after, I broke up and whatever. And one of the things, I don't know, it could be the case or not, but I realized something. When I was able to understand where my fears and my resistance were coming from, I thought and I said, you know what? He may have felt that I was unsafe for him.
Absolutely. Oh.
So I shared this to because it made me, when we were talking about understanding, that the world needs understanding.
Yes.
I got that when I was able to understand where my resistance and where my struggle was, I then was getting where somebody else's struggle was. I was able to, I don't know, because we've never had that conversation, him and I, but I said, you know what? Hey, I did break up with him.
Oh, I just got chills.
So I did break up with him. So maybe he didn't want to renew or get too close because what if it happens again? But I was able to see that because when I was having the resistance of renewing other relationships, and then I said, oh, I got that. Yeah, the world, I had at some point in my life, something happened and I said, the world, I'm unlovable and the world is unsafe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So isn't that something that's why I think exactly what you were saying is that we need to do our own work.
Yes.
And then not stay there. We need to then contribute it and share it with another, because as we're doing our own stuff, we can then get other people.
I just keep getting chills, and I just want to make a note here. And I want to emphasize, you and I have been talking about, healing the world, and it means healing ourselves. And, we hear that a lot. It's nothing new. But what I want to emphasize in this point is the ripple effect, how powerful it is when you have that one healing moment, the ripple effect that it has. It's not just a healing moment for you and you feel better. You have it ripples out, and the way that you act and the way that you behave to this person or any other person that comes your way, it impacts them. It's like this amazing, beautiful, powerful energy that just keeps going and going and going. And that's why healing is so important. It's not just for you. It does have an effect on the collective.
Yes. Because we heal ourselves. And that's the thing. I think that's the important point that you and I and Marianne Williams and other people are trying to make, is that heal yourself, but don't remain there.
Yeah.
Some people, okay, I need to heal myself so I can grow my business. I can have a better relationship with my family. I can bring, with my man or with my girlfriend, whatever. But it stops there. They don't go beyond. And sometimes it could just be, okay, it's for me. That's for me, and then we don't look at it. And one of the things, actually, when I went in, I wanted to experience, my intention with that seminar was that I wanted to experience more. I wanted to create the possibility, because that's the language they use at Landmark Education, the possibility of harmony in my family. And I said, in my family, then I wanted them to experience it, and I wanted it to ripple out into the world.
Oh, Yeah.
because I didn't want it. It's not like, oh, I just want this for me.
Yeah.
I want it for everyone,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And actually, I just realized through talking to you, I shared this I mean, I've shared with people on the side, but I've never shared it in a public place like that.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah.
so thank you for that. So tell us, I want you to give you the opportunity for you to tell us about your work, who you work with, what you do for them, and then you can also let them know where people can go and connect with you.
Oh, sure. Okay. So, if it's not obvious already, I work with spiritual seekers, people who are on this path, usually professionals who find themselves compulsively playing small, like they're hiding. So I help them I uncover what their life purpose is so that they can come out of hiding and finally answer that calling to be of service to the world. And I know there are so many people out there right now who are miserable at their job. They don't know what they're doing. They're just going day to day, kind of living it out and looking around and like thinking, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And if you are a spiritual seeker, then you know that there's something bigger than you and you're feeling it and you're wanting it. And I love working with people who have that that calling inside of them and they know it, but they're just a little bit afraid. They either don't know what that is, but they feel it, or they do know what it is, but they're too scared to make that jump. So that's who I love working with. And geez, are you going to post the social media links? I have a
them, but if you can say it, but that's going to be on the website as well, so they'll know,
sure.
be able to click.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So I do actually have for those people who this resonates with, I have it's called How to Break Free from Compulsive Negative Self-Talk. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just a really easy PDF, and I can give you a link for that, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so you'll just post the link. Yeah. So if you guys are struggling with that compulsive negative self-talk, because as spiritual seekers, we know that, we're not supposed to have negative thoughts, that what we think about is what we create. But still we still have those negative self-talk, right? Like, you can't do this, you're not good enough. Well, I created a PDF to help you kind of break through that. So there's that. I also have a Facebook group where it's called Soul Connections with Kat Kim, where you can join me, and it's just connecting. That's it. There's no obligation for anything with it. So I'll give you the links to that too, and I think I already did. So
yes, you did. Thank you so much. So I would love for you, what would be your last message to to people in my audience who are listening to us? What would be your last message to them that maybe you feel that they need to hear? And it could be about really stepping into their purpose, or really stepping up and really being a contribution. So you choose whatever you want to share.
Oh yeah, my last message, and my one message all the time is that there is something so beautiful out there that is this magnificent, divine, intelligent power that is just like wanting to move through each and every one of you. And it is real. And I know that you guys feel it once in a while. There's like this glimpse of, wow, what is that? Ooh, there's something bigger, and I have access to it. But I am telling you right now that you've got access to it 24/7, and this big infinite energy is wanting to move through you and to create through you, and it's divine nature to create, and it is your divine nature to create. You are a divine creator, just like God, spirit, universe. And so when you can harness these natural things that are happening within us, then you can create anything in your life. And the reason why you struggle and why it hurts is because you're not stepping into that. You're supposed to play big, but you're playing small, and it hurts to play small because the universe is just like wanting to explode through you. So that's my message. It's, you go for it, whether it's through me or anybody. Like, I'm totally here to support any of your listeners. You are awesome, Nadjejda. I just love your energy and I love talking to you. I forgot that we're doing
I know.
I forgot we're doing a recording and there's other people that are listening, because I love the connection that we have. It's so much fun every single time.
It is very fun. And I have to say, like, I didn't know her. I had no idea who you were. And I was like, what if, I mean, we were Facebook friends because we were in this program together. So we became Facebook friends. And I was like, I wonder if I send her a message, she's going to like ignore me, or she's going to be like, no, I don't want to come to her podcast. Why don't But I was like, I'll take the chance, because actually I think I shared that with you. And I was in DC the first time we spoke, where I saw she was going to Sister Giant. And I was like, okay, because it took me a while to like start talking to people about this. And then when I was actually started talking to people, she went on a silent retreat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 10-day silent retreat.
I was like, okay, I have to wait until she comes back.
Mm-hmm.
You would think I was stalking you on Facebook, right?
Yeah. I'm so glad we did. This is a really great connection that we have.
It's really great, and I love for you to come back on again.
Anytime.
Because as you could see, we have so much to talk about, right? We could just going and going, you know. And I have to say, I mean, I see you're doing a meetup group. I really love what I see you putting out there. Really needed. So thank you for not only coming today and, you know, sharing this moment with me, but also for what you do in the world.
Thank you.
We need that. So thank you all for joining us, and love and light to everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.